Your ability to build and master your personal brand will give you a tremendous competitive advantage. It will give you a competitive advantage in business, in ministry, in politics, and in life. And let me explain. You see, the ability to build and master your personal brand enables you to get a foot in the door. It enables you to get a seat at the table. It enables you to enhance your visibility and to be heard. It enables you to master the know, the like, and the trust. And above all, it enables you to achieve targeted performance outcome. Now, what I want us to do is to spend some time examining some of the benefits in building and mastering your personal brand. The first thing that I said is that it enables you to get a foot in the door. But what does getting a foot in the door means to you as a rising star in business? To get a foot in the door, it means that you have established relevance. So when that door opens, it means that you have a particular skill sets that is relevant to those people inside of the room. For example, you might have financial expertise, and that becomes part of your personal brand that you are leveraging to open doors. So when you get into that door, or long before you get into that door, people are aware that you understand financial instruments. So, for example, you might be the expert that understand four pillars of finance. For example, you understand capital markets because capital are different. And understanding the differences in financial instruments, it is what is going to enable the people in the room to make better, smarter, wiser business decisions. So your brand really helps people to understand one, that there are different types of financial instruments. There is debt and there's equity. There is credit and there's creative financing. There is hard money lending. And each of these financial instruments operates different. So your expertise may help someone to understand that as a rising star in business, you should stay away from debt financing. And perhaps you should focus more on equity financing, or you should focus more on credit financing at 0% APR for 6 to 24 months. Now, in the absence of you understanding these financial instruments, the possibility exists that you're going to go and take debt. And what happened with debt financing? Debt financing is subject to monthly repayment. So in the case that you're taking debt to invest in real estate, you will have a monthly obligation to honor your PITI, the principal and interest, tax, and insurance. But as a novice, you may not know this. The financial expert who has built up his personal brand has this body of knowledge, and they are now using this body of knowledge to get a foot in the door. And because they can help you save time, save money, reduce your stress level, that door opens. So building and mastering your personal brand, it's about establishing relevance. And when you're able to establish relevance, the first thing that happens, you're able to get a foot in that door. But let's go a little deeper into this because the financial expert is not only someone that is helping you to understand the different types of financial instruments. That financial expert may also help you to identify how to access, because it is one thing to understand financial instruments, and it is quite another to be able to access capital. I've seen people in developing economies, in developed economies, struggle to access capital to move their vision forward. So, as you build that personal brand to have relevance, perhaps you are now building your personal brand to help rising stars and stars in business to access capital. All right. Now, there are different pre qualifications to access capital. And as an expert who's helping people to access capital, you need to understand this. And perhaps that might be the personal brand that you're building. And you're fixing a major problem. Because let me give an example. Very often we see persons are inspired to become real estate investors, but then they don't have the capital to invest because investing in real estate can become a capital intensive exercise. And because you people may be a novice, they don't have all of the information, they're sitting on the fence. But with your personal brand, with your expertise, you now have relevance to that person or persons that wants to become a real estate investor, but just don't understand how to play the money game. So when you come in, you now sit them down and you said, okay, these are several things that I can do. Yes, to become a real estate investor, to become a real estate developer is capital intensive. But what I can do, I can help you to get a general understanding of DSCR loans. And not only understanding of DSCR loans, I will also enable you to get access to DSCR loans. So what that is saying is that you're literally helping those individuals to access 80% of the cost of buying that piece of real estate, and that is taking a big weight off of their shoulder because you're helping them to access up to 80% of the cost of that property, and they don't have to present income tax because that can be a barrier. They don't have to present historical data, financial or experience in the field. And they don't have to present a whole lot of things because of the specific financial instruments that you are referring them to. So you fix that part of it, but then you continue. There's a 20% that also needs to be raised. So how is this novice, this newcomer into business is going to raise that 20%? Well, if you're in the US and you're a US citizen or can partner with a US citizen, what I'm about to say is going to help to fix your problem. Because there are two basic things that you would need. You would need to, one, have your your SSN, your social security number. And two, you would need to have a healthy FICO score. So a healthy FICO score means that between Equifax, Experience, and TransUnion, you have a healthy portfolio. There is no late payment, there is no charge off, there's no derogatory on your report. Now, why you need this? Because you're going to be leveraging your credit portfolio to access what we call non-collateralized funding. And here is where you're going to be accessing non-collateralized funding at 0% APR for 6 to 24 months. So get this. The first 80% of the funding to acquire your first piece of estate, we have fixed that. And the second part, the 20%, we are now about to fix that because you're just leveraging your SSN, you're leveraging your FICO to attain non-collateralized, unsecure, 0% APR funding. Now, here is where you can access between $20,000 to $250,000. And really, there's no limit to how much you can access at this level. All right, because the funding partners, they may apply for several rounds and give you an opportunity to raise this capital. So here is where, because of the personal brand that is sitting next to you that understand the financial market, they are now helping you to realize your real estate investment dream with zero money out of pocket. And that's just the icing on the cake. So building and mastering your personal brand in a manner that is relevant to the people in the room. This is just an example of what that personal brand should represent. Now, so far, we are looking at two things in relation to your personal brand. One, we say your personal brand can be helping people to understand financial instruments. Second, we are saying that your personal brand is now helping people to access capital markets. But there are two other levels that I want you to consider. Third is that your personal brand as a financial expert, you're now helping people in that room. So when that door opens, you get a foot in the door. You're now helping people to make better, smarter, wiser business decisions because you may access capital, you may understand financial portfolio, but do you really understand how to leverage capital for optimal financial results? Because we have seen many times that people have the knowledge, people get the access, but people undermine themselves when it comes to leveraging the thing that we call money, 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 money. You don't understand how to leverage it. And to leverage capital the right way, it is influenced by data. Again, your personal brand, because you're deep into financial management, you understand that it's not about only understanding the portfolios. It's not just about accessing, but you need to understand how to de-risk your investment portfolio. So smart leveraging is all about de-risking the investment portfolios and optimizing the financial gains. This requires data. Your personal brand might be the personal brand that is helping the people in the room to understand the best way to leverage. And let me give another example in terms of leverage. Only recently, I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues, and the first action step was to look at a building for sale and raise that capital and purchase that building. But is that the best leveraging of capital? So we had some conversation around that, and then we decide to distill that conversation to where we begin now to talk about two important concepts that will really optimize your ability to leverage finance and de-risk the investment portfolios. And the two concepts that we look at is subject to and seller finance. Because with subject to, you are able to acquire the assets with limited money down. And you're also able to accomplish the same with seller finance. So the capital that you are getting is now de-risked. And because you're able to de-risk the investment portfolios, it significantly optimizes your leverage and it also free up more capital for investment. Perhaps this is your personal brand. So as you build your personal brand, as I said at the beginning, it's about ensuring that your personal brand is relevant to people. There are two aspects to relevance, but we're going to get into the other aspect later on. The client must be relevant to you too, but we'll go deeper into that as time progresses. So it's important to marry a knowledge of capital portfolio, the knowledge of how to access capital portfolio, and the knowledge of the best way to leverage capital portfolios. And last but not least, it's about you understanding capital mitigation. Now, when you're playing the money game, it's important to understand all of these moving parts because the chance to optimize your wealth building journey, the opportunity to optimize your personal brand in the context of wealth creation is not only gained by accessing capital, you are able to optimize the cash flow of your business, your brand, by understanding capital portfolios, by understanding what capital portfolios to access, and to also understand the best way to leverage that financial instruments. Last but not least is in mitigation, a clear understanding of how to mitigate financial instruments will also enable you to make better, smarter, wiser financial decisions and increase your chances of building wealth. Now, what exactly do I mean by debt mitigation? Now, when you buy a debt has a cost. And if you are a keen listener, you will recall I would have mentioned that when you buy a debt, particularly if you're going to go and invest in real estate, that debt is subject to a concept that we call PITI, principal and interest, tax, and insurance. And very often, depending on where you are in the world, you may complain about the high cost of capital. One that understands capital mitigation, debt mitigation, financial instrument mitigation, they understand that you have tremendous control over the cost that you are paying for capital. Now, this may not be common knowledge, but a person in the room who is leveraging their personal brand to get a foot in the door, the possibility exists that they're coming with this body of knowledge to really help you to understand what is capital mitigation. And I'm just going to give a hint here, and over time, as we go deeper into our master classes, we will go deeper into this. Your debt is subject to interest. But interest, depending on the financial instrument that you're using, is amortized or simple. And the more you understand this and how to mitigate this process, it enables you to have control. On the amortization debt portfolios, there's strategic things that you can do by managing the principal reducing your principal balance that influences the entire outcome of the interest rates that you're actually paying. Your financial expert, the personal brand specialist who has this capability that is coming into your environment, they would notice. So, in building and mastering your personal brand and in attempting to create relevance, these are some of the important things that you would need to consider. Now, what I've done today, we talked about the importance of building and mastering your personal brand. I said, get your foot in the door. But to get that foot in the door in the first place, you need to establish relevance. And how do you establish relevance? You establish relevance by ensuring that you have a brand that can reach expectations, that can exceed expectations with the highest degree of consistency above and beyond the expectations of the beneficiary. And with that in mind, we have then discussed the financial expert and his personal brand being finance, four different areas: portfolios, access, leverage, and mitigation, and how he's using this as his or her personal brand to get a foot in the door. But my word is to use that when you commit the time, talent, and resources to build a strong personal brand, it literally enables you to get that foot in the door. It does more than this. It enables you to get a seat at the table. And I will explain that another day. It enables you to be visible and to be heard. It enables you to be known, to be liked, and to be trusted. And above all, it enables you to achieve targeted results. So building and mastering your personal brand, it's important to you, whether you're in business, whether you're in ministry, whether you're in politics, or whether you're in life. It makes a whole lot of sense to commit the time, talent, and resources to really learn what it takes to build and master your personal brand. Now, Global Capital Inc., we have designed a very unique program that we call the Well Builders Blueprint. And the Well Builders Blueprint, the foundation is your personal brand. And we're teaching you how to build your personal brand to succeed in business, in ministry, in politics, and in life. So if this message resonates with you, and you are the person that wants to affect positive change in your life in business, ministry, politics, and life, I want to encourage you to reach out. All right, reach out, because we are committed to helping you get the right information to make better, smarter, and wiser life choices. My name is Gary Thompson. It has been a pleasure being with you, and I look forward to being with you in the next broadcast. Be blessed, and see you soon.